In this video, I'm going to show you how to scan for Maven security vulnerabilities. We're going to be leveraging this library here, and then we're also going to set it up so that we can use it with Github Actions. If you don't know what Github Actions is, it's your continuous delivery and integration. It's provided by GitHub with most GitHub repositories. I believe they are out of beta at this point, so any GitHub repository has one. It makes it incredibly easy because if you do have continuous delivery and you're delivering an application to production using a pipeline, or what GitHub calls them, a workflow, you can stop yourself from shipping something that is vulnerable and has a bad dependency in it. This is important because often people will forget to monitor dependencies, issues will arise in them, and you'll never be aware of them. So I'm going to link everything in the description, and we're just going to head over to my website here, keithweaver.ca, and /lessons. This first lesson here, I'm going to hit view in a single page, and I will link to this. It's pretty simple. I link to the library. I'll link to how you can just simply run the check, but we're going to go a step further and set up a script that essentially fails, returns an exit code of 1, which would cause a failure in a pipeline, and then we'll set up an actual workflow to do that. So what you'll need is a new repository. So I'm going to call this demo1 security. I'm going to make mine private, and I'm going to hit create. The first thing I'm going to do here is, just for ease of use here, I'm just going to remove a lot of these tabs just so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, I'm back. Okay. So as you can see, I have GitHub Actions here. If you don't have this tab, then look at github.com/actions and see if why you don't have it, and you can also request it if you don't. I'm just going to copy the link, and then I'm going to open up my terminal. I'll zoom in here. I'm going to switch to my desktop. I'm just going to run a git clone, and I'm going to paste the link. The first step here is to set up a Maven project. I do not have one. If you already have one, you don't need to set one up. You can just skip ahead. So I'm going to start by opening up intellij. It's the editor I'm choosing to use. I'm going to use version 1.8. I'm going to put a group ID of my website in. Demo1 is going to be my name. Snapshot1, all great. This is really just as an example. I'm going to find my Git directory here. So if I just go back, Demo1 security, hit open, and I hit finish, it will set up my project. Okay, so we're going to set up a very basic project. There won't be anything in here as it all still loads. I'm going to my Java directory. I'm going to add a package, new package, c.my group ID, demo1. And then I'm just going to add a single Java file that actually won't do anything except print hello world. Doesn't matter, I just need to be able to build this project. So app. We're just going to put in public static main, public static void main string args system.out.println hello world. Save that. As of right now, I'm not going to have anything in here, so I'm just going to close this. And if I go back to my terminal, I should be able to do a Maven clean package, and that should build my the project. Sorry, I ran into this issue. That's fine. I know the solution. Essentially, I just need to go into my POM. And specify the version of Java I'm using. So I'm just going to go properties. I'm going to do Maven compiler.source. and 1.8, and then I just gotta add a target as well. I would typically remove this from a video, but just in case you run into the same issue, this is how you solve it. So I'm just going to rerun that, Maven clean package. As you can see, it says build success, perfect. The next step here is I'm going to add in a bad package. Now, typically you wouldn't see that there's a bad package in here. You just use it completely unaware that you just introduce a security vulnerability. So this version here has been flagged as an issue. To core. The other thing I should mention is that all this is in the document here, this lesson here. So if you start to scroll through, I explain it all and how to test it out, but we actually haven't got to that point. So now now that I've done that, I'm just going to go back there and hit save, and I'm just going to rerun this. So if I did Maven clean package, I'm actually going to build a package that has a security vulnerability in there, and I'm completely unaware. So then I'm going to try out this library here. It uses the CVE. So if you just look that up, as you can see, it's it stands for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposure. It's essentially a standard for any common security issues. So if I just run this command here, it will still build, and will build successfully, but it will print out, this is a security vulnerability. So as you can see, and it prints out the issue, this very specific issue that it's linked to. So since this is a security issue and still builds successfully, if I introduce a pipeline, it would still deploy it to my production. So what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to kind of change this ordering around. I'm going to create a script that will throw essentially a failure if there is actually an issue. So I'm going to start by making a directory called scripts, and inside there a pipeline. So just make -p, which is recursive, and then I'm just going to copy this again. I'm going to create this bash script called security checks, and lastly I'm going to copy this whole script, and I will explain what this does. So I'm just going to look at my scripts here, open up security checks, and paste it. Okay. So what happens here is it's going to create a file, and if there's an existing file there, it will remove it, and then it will recreate it empty. It will run that same command and append all of the standard out into this file. Next, it will take a look for the words "is vulnerable to" inside that file, and if it is in there, it will exit with a security exit code 1, which will cause a pipeline to fail. Otherwise, it will display the security logs, which I don't think we will keep that. I want to say no, it's not vulnerable. I'm just going to add one more line in here. And then lastly, it will remove this security checks log. Why have this double remove? It's just in case something gets through, or for some reason it fails in the middle. So you can run this locally if you head back over to your bash, so your terminal, and I'm just going to clear mine, and I'm just going to run bash scripts pipeline, and the last one is security checks, and hit enter. We will do that same Maven build in the background as before, but then it will tell me yes, it's security has security vulnerabilities. So this works as expected. Hypothetically, if I remove that one dependency I put in there, the security vulnerability should go away, and I should be able to. It should say it's all fine. So if I try that. Oh, I realized I wrote no, it's vulnerable. That's not actually correct. No, it's not no, it's fine. Change to say everything is green. Okay, so that's all set up. We have our security checks all running. Now we just want to automate this so that every time we do a deployment, it happens in an automatic fashion. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to do this via my terminal. I'm going to clear. I'm going to make a directory called .github and make a directory inside that folder called workflows. And this is how GitHub Actions get picked up. And I'm just going to create an empty file called workflows/master.yaml. And on my website, I have the full script, which runs security checks. I will explain all of these. I'm going to paste that in .github/workflows/master. So essentially right now, well, it runs on all branches. I'm going to actually just change this. I'm going to call this master CI just so that it only runs on master. I'm going to push to master anyways. So on pushes to master, it'll build it, it'll use the Ubuntu, and it will simply it will check out the code, and then it will just run our bash script. Simple enough. So let's push that up to GitHub. So I just did a git status to see what I have. So I don't have a git ignore for ignoring the files I don't want for Java here. So I'm just going to manually pick and choose which files I want. So the .github I want, the Palm I want, the scripts folder I want, the source folder I want. Essentially, the things I excluded was the target directory, which contained my jar, but I'm going to build it on my pipeline. The .iml file, I don't need that. And the .idea file, I don't need that either. So I'm just going to do another git status. I'm just going to say git commit initial security checks. And then I'm just going to do a git push. So now that that's there, I'm going to head back over to my GitHub repository. I'm going to click on Actions here. And as you can see, my master CI is now there. It will trigger in a second. Nothing's been triggered. I go back to code. I can see my code's there. I'm just going to head back to Git Actions. Now it's triggered. I'm going to click upon that, and my workflow is going to begin to run. As of right now, I think I finished that with having that commented out. So you'll see this should be a green pipeline. All should be fine. We'll then change it to re-add that vulnerable dependency back in there. It will cause the pipeline to fail as we expected. And then before the video ends, I'll make sure I remove that dependency because you don't really want to add a vulnerable security dependency into your project. So as you can see, it did the build. Lots of output here. It's built successfully. So we're all good. Go back here. Go back to intellij. Go to your pom.xml and re-add that dependency. Just push that up. That will trigger another build. Might have to refresh the page. That's my problem. It's doing that same build. This time it doesn't have output because I'm capturing it all into logs. I'm not actually there. It says yes, there's a security vulnerability found. It broke the build, as you can see. If you had future steps after this to go, to production, deploy to a server, or package it all up and ship it off to like an artifactory or something like that, it would stop here. So the last step is just get rid of this because you don't want to just leave a dependency in there. So add the Palm, commit it up. And just push that back up. So that's pretty much everything for this video. As you can see, it's really easy to add a simple check, and GitHub makes it easy so you can continuously do it. Thanks for watching. I'm going to have another video next Wednesday.